More than once. Am I going to be the first Scottish president of the Tennessee section?
Yes, undoubtedly. All right, well, first of all, I applaud you for coming to the Assistant Summit. It demonstrates that you're interested in learning, in continuous learning. I'm hopeful today that you're going to learn some things that will help you in a job search, because I'm also going to make an assumption that all of you don't want to be an assistant forever. Is there anyone here that wants to be a career assistant? Never get a head profession job? Good, you're in the right room. We're going to talk about resumes and cover letters. We're going to have some fun with mock interview questions. I sit in an interview room with search committees a lot. Probably, it's hard to put a number on the number of hours I spend with search committees. But I know the questions that they're going to ask, and I know what a good answer sounds like. And I also know what an answer sounds like that will turn them off. And while I won't tell you or any professional what to say, I might suggest that you say something differently because it might be perceived. Okay. When is it appropriate to write a cover letter?
Always.
Anybody disagree with that? You wouldn't believe how many applications we get for jobs, including some very high-level jobs, no cover letter. I'll say this, you need to write a cover letter every time you have an intention to get the job. Especially at an executive level, if you don't write a cover letter, the employer's not going to read your resume, period. I don't care what that resume says, they're just going to put you in the Dear John list. So, every time you apply for a job, you need to write a cover letter. What's a cover letter need to look like? It needs to make it painfully clear why this club, why you, and why you're ready for this position. And I'm going to post this whole thing on the Career Services website, so you guys don't need to take notes. And at the end of this, I've got a QR code that will take you to that Career Service webpage, and you can save it. All right, why this club? Why is that important? They want to know if you've done your homework about it. What do you know about the club? Do you know the keys to success for the position that they're looking to hire? Have you done your research? Don't write a cover letter until you know the keys to success for that position. What challenges have they had that you're going to solve for them? Why you gets back to the keys to success for that position. You have to find out the keys to success for that position. If it's not clearly written in the job posting, which some of them aren't, call someone in the area. Call the club. Call sales reps. Find out, why is this position vacated, and what are they looking for in their next professional? And then you write your cover letter with why you are uniquely qualified for that position. You have to find out keys to success. In your cover letter, provide some proof of readiness, some examples, some real world examples about how you're prepared for that position. For instance, merchandising is a great one. Say the previous professional was a terrible merchandiser and that was important to the club. And you've taken the initiative at your current club to be engaged in the merchandising process, and you understand it, you know an open to buy. I'll say that about twice more. You know the open to buy, study that, know that. That's really, really important. If a search committee asks you to explain an open to buy plan and you don't give a good answer at a private club, you are out the door. That's how important it is. Gotta know it. Give specific examples. tailor your cover letter to every position. Don't have I see a lot of form cover letters that go to facilities, and the only thing that's changed, and sometimes it's not even changed, is the facility name. Sometimes you'll see different facility names in the same cover letter. It's obviously a form letter. That'll get you shot in the trash can quickly as well. What's the most important thing about a cover letter? How do you align with the club? It gets back to those keys to success. How do you solve their problems? You have to convince them of that. Because when you're applying for a head professional job, you're very likely, almost certainly, competing with people that are currently head professionals. How do you overcome that? Any ideas?
Alignment.
That's right. That's right. I want to give you some words of encouragement. I see high-end, ambitious, smart assistants hired over people with head golf professional experience a lot, and for some really good jobs too. So you need to convince them why. Convince them that you do have the skills. You've actually done it. You've participated, good point there, Paul, in the merchandising operation. You've sat with the sales reps. You understand open to buy. You understand cost of goods sold. You understand how to build a budget. You know all of that. You just haven't sat in the top chair to do it yet. But you know how to do it, and you're working for someone that lets you help them. You're skilled in that. They said alignment. It's not about being, a great personality. It's not about a really lengthy cover letter. If your cover letter is longer than one page, you need to shorten it to one. In fact, you need to shorten it to about this much, because that's about how much an average employer is going to read. You need to sell them right out of the gate. And you need to be sure that that cover letter, again, I keep coming back to keys to success. You need to be sure that you're selling what they want to buy, which means you can solve their problems. You're not selling what you want to sell. Maybe you're a great player, maybe you're a great teacher, and they're looking for a great merchandiser, someone great with tournament operations, someone that's great with membership growth. Sell what they want to buy. What makes a great resume? Tells a cohesive story, your career path makes sense. I see a lot of people that apply for positions that they don't have relevant experience. When employers are looking through a stack of resumes, the key that they're looking for is successful, recent, relevant experience. If you have worked in the public sector your entire career and you're applying for a head professional job at a private equity club, member-owned private club, you're probably not going to get a look. You need to work, you need to have experience in that sector. Even if you're working for a for-profit club, and it's a private equity club, sometimes they think of that as a challenge too. How can you overcome some of those things? Does anybody know the difference between some operational differences between a private member-owned equity club and most private for-profit clubs? Anyone?
Lack of boards.
Committees.
Yeah.
Committees. That's the number one reason why private equity clubs sometimes don't look at private for-profit professionals. Can you overcome that? Maybe. You know it's going to be a barrier. That's something you could address in your cover letter right out of the gate. You know, while I work for a private for-profit, I have vast experience working with committees, such as my Ladies Golf Association committee that has 200 ladies in it or whatnot, my Men's Golf Association committee, my member guest committee, my member committee. It gets back to that experience that's relevant to the job. So in relation to the job. Again, it's written for the job. It's not written for you. Every resume is going to be a little bit different because the keys to success for every job are a little bit different. And you need to tailor them to that. Clearly shows leadership impact. Head golf professionals are leaders, all of them. You need to be a great leader. You need to show in your resume that leadership experience. We won't get there just yet. I want to talk a little bit more about resumes. What time do I have to go to? 4:30. Okay, I got my time. 4:30. Okay. I want to talk a little bit more about cover letters and resumes, because that's a package. The purpose of your cover letter is to get them to read the resume. The purpose of the resume is to get them to call you so that you can get face-to-face with them, which is probably going to be virtually. First couple stages will probably be virtually. When you write a cover letter, don't ever write a cover letter to whom it may concern. Find out who's going to read that cover letter. Sometimes it's not easy, especially if you're applying to a corporate job, and it might be to a website and apply here. You can still figure it out. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to separate you from other candidates. The whole key to a successful job search is separating yourself from other candidates. That's how you win. So everything you do with your cover letter, with your resume, it's about separating yourself from other candidates. Accomplishments on resumes that are relevant to the keys to success of the position are critical. Job responsibilities are not. If all you write down on your resume is job responsibilities, how many resumes are going to look exactly alike? Most. Accomplishments. Measurable accomplishments that speak to the keys to success of the position. Critical. Again, everything you're doing in a job search is geared towards separating yourself from other candidates. Appearance. Learn how to tie a tie correctly. I've seen club presidents at high-end clubs not give professionals the nod for the smallest details, including how to tie a tie. On our career services webpage, I've got a video that will teach you how to tie a full Windsor tie. Do it. Again, it's separating yourself from other candidates. Every little thing, a pressed shirt, pressed pants, polished shoes, clean fingernails. I mean, the littlest thing. It's separating yourself with other candidates, and you've got a ton of opportunities to do that. Dress to the nines, always overdress. When you're in a video interview, coat and tie, just like you were in person. When you're in a video interview, invest in a ring light. You guys probably all are young enough to all know what a ring light is. I do now. Lighting's critical. Background's critical. Camera angle is critical. Camera needs to be just slightly above your eyes. When you're in a video interview, make sure you're looking at the camera, not at the screen. When you're looking at the camera, you're looking the person in the eye. If you're looking in the middle of the screen, it looks like you're looking at their chest. Eye contact's important. You're trying to connect with these people. It's these little details that make the difference. Okay. Now we're going to go into a little bit of the fun part. And that's where this ball comes in. We're going to ask some questions. We have a job at Hazel Rocket Country Club for a director of golf. A little bit about the club. 75-year-old club, financially stable, private equity club in the Southeast. $50,000 initiation fee, $750 a month dues. Full membership, 30,000 rounds a year. Director of golf is retiring, has served 25 years. They love him or her, but they want the club to elevate. I've seen a lot of searches with this. Demographic in the PGA of America means we're gonna see a lot more of that too. Our average age has gone down, but only because we've recruited a ton of people in here, but there's still a big number of golf professionals that are in their mid-50s and older, like Paul and I. They're retiring. Here's your chance to shine. All of you are probably pretty tech savvy, right? I'll bet that 65-year-old retiring golf pro was not. Think about that. Separating yourself from other candidates. Find out what they loved about that golf professional. Find out what that golf professional could have done better. Here's where it gets fun. We're going to ask some interview questions, and I'm going to toss this ball, and if you catch it or it hits you, you have to answer the question. And then we're going to critique it as a group. And this is how we're going to learn. Again, I'm not going to tell you what you should say, but I might say, consider something a little bit different. It's going to be in your words. Tell us how Hosel Rocket Country Club fits into your career goals. Nope. Weak pros. All right, how's Hosel Rocket fit into your career goals?
Well, my career goals are obviously wanting to move up, at least move on from being an assistant, eventually being a head pro, and then a director of golf. So that would be an opportunity that aligns with where I want to go.
Okay. Any comments? Yeah.
I would just say be more decisive on your answer as far as just saying, this is why I feel like I'm called up, why it fits my goal. Just be, probably in this setting, answer the question as if he's the interviewer and you're just responding directly to him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that Hosel Rocket Country Club is a great opportunity for me because, and they go right into it. That would be my recommendation.
I would also add, make it more personal. One of the things for the caption said it was in the southeast. So now we know the geographical location of the facility. And you can say, I'm from North Florida, and it gets me closer to my family. And that was one of the goals I had 5 years ago when I got into the industry. Maybe something like that.
Good. We're still missing something critical. Anybody?
Families?
Gets back to that word alignment.
Mm-hmm.
How does it fit into your career goals? I want to be closer to family in the southeast. I know that you're looking for a great player who loves to engage with members.
Established.
That's what I love doing. I can solve, you're essentially saying this fits into my career goals because my career goals align with the keys to success. That's what you want to do. That's critical. And that's probably going to be the first question in 3/4 of your interviews. So you've got a great chance to hit it out of the park. Be enthusiastic. I love playing with members. I love connecting with members. I'm great with player development programs and I love doing that. I know that's critical at this position, so the alignment is just perfect. My family lives 30 minutes down the road. Have some enthusiasm, but be specific. Create that alignment. Tell them about the alignment. Because most candidates won't. And again, separating yourself from other candidates. You have to align. Okay. Okay. All right, Chris. You get to throw it to him.
And that was a great answer. You're the first one to speak.
Yeah.
Kudos to you for actually saying something. So well done.
Well, that's where the ball comes in. Yeah, I mean, there aren't bad answers. We're all learning.
That's right.
We're all learning. And I'll tell you, before we get out of time, I want to tell you this, and I know we've got to get a bit of time. If you get a job, if you get an interview for a job, call me and let's do a mock interview where it's one-on-one. I know all the questions. I can make it infinitely more hard on you than it will be in front of that search committee. Take advantage of that. I mean, virtual or if I'm in town in person.
Can we get to horror stories before you wrap things up?
Horror stories?
Because I've interviewed 6 people in the last week for a position I've got, and I can tell you one horror story that you gotta hear.
Yeah. Who has the ball?
Hey,
Oh.
ready?
If it hits you
Yeah.
first.
And, is it possible I could see the stuff about the club? real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why should we consider you the best candidate for our next director of golf?
Being a director of golf at a private member-owned club has been a dream of mine for as long as I can remember. One of my mentors, I grew up at a Southern club that is member-owned, and I know what it's like to be on that side of it, from the member side and the professional side. I've worked at private member-owned clubs as well. A lot of my mentors are from there, and I would lean on them and their experience as well to help me be the best candidate for this position.
Okay, good. Thoughts? That's actually a trick question. Because it's asking, why are you the best candidate? You don't know any other candidates. How do you know if you're the best?
You gotta be confident in yourself.
We don't. What else? And I say that because there's a segue you can go into that will make you appear humble and confident. Those are 2 other keys to interviewing. You want to be confident, not cocky. But you also need to be humble. We're servants. Any other comments?
So would you preference that question by saying, I don't know the other candidates, but here's why I would be a great fit?
Bingo, exactly. Exactly. If you start out, listen, I don't know any other candidates, so I can't compare myself, but here's what you get with me. Boom. So you've demonstrated that you're humble and confident. If you say, well, I'm the greatest in the world, you're gonna come off cocky. It's a trick question, and when you do that, it turns search committees off. All right, who has the ball? You can toss it to somebody. It does.
Nice hands.
Okay, describe how you will engage and be visible to our members on a daily basis.
What I would do to engage and be visible to our members on a daily basis would to, first of all, spend time on the first tee, ask how their day is going, personally build a connection. I would also try to put my name down in money groups as much as I could to build that connection over the course of, 4 hours. Hopefully it's no longer than that. Another thing I would do is to host clinics where we could have maybe less experienced golfers maybe kind of get into the game that way and build that connection with you personally instead of, just hearing about you to other people. It's great to be visible out of the shop sometimes, on that tee, connecting personally. And I think that's why I would be a great fit for this position in terms of visibility and engagement.
A lot of good stuff there. Really good stuff.
Reframe the question, which is good.
Yeah. Any comments? By the way, member engagement's one of the big keys in the private club world. They want a golf professional that spends very little time in the shop. They want a person that's out on the lesson tee, on the first tee, shaking hands, playing with members, teaching members, traveling with members. My only suggestion would be, don't say I would, say I will. It's more powerful, it's more confident. This is how I will engage with your members. You can start off by making a statement too, that I enjoy spending time on the practice tee. I enjoy spending time with members. This is how I will connect with your members. It was a really good answer.
Yeah.
But not I would, I will. Because you want them to see you in that position.
One of the things I was able to do at West Haven is, we didn't have a golf course, so when I got there, it was, had professional without a golf course, it was dirt. So I did what we call coffee on the porch. So I went to West Haven's Residence Club. Every Friday morning, I did coffee on the porch at 7 a.m. And I just stood out there on the porch and just talked to people. They just came to me and asked a question. I didn't have a golf cart, I couldn't do lessons or anything, so. So you
Yeah.
have to be creative with that too. So sometimes it may not be on the golf course, it could just be coffee on the porch.
Right, right. Something else that you can add, and again, you're an assistant applying for a head professional job. They're looking for leadership skills. When you talk about member engagement, you could also add, after you say, I will do that, you can say, furthermore, I will require my team to do the same. I'll demonstrate to them how important it is that they engage with the members. Every chance you get to talk, to add a little bit in there about how you lead the team, take it. Right, you throw the ball. Okay. What methods would you use to recruit, train, and motivate your staff?
In the past experience that I've had, one of the most beneficial things from that I can do to help my employees is show them that I'm willing to do anything that I'll ask them to do. And so, just as I train them, be hands-on with them, let them know that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, and therefore that will help them do what's asked of them, and be energetic about that and excited to do the work instead of just feel like they're getting bossed around all day.
Okay? Thoughts? There's some good answer, good content in that. There's one problem though. You didn't say anything about recruit.
Well, as far as recruiting, the first thing I would do is make sure that I understood what the board was looking for, because it's a private club. Automatically understand what they're looking for and what they really want, and align it with what they want. I've actually got about 20 years of recruiting experience myself, so that would really help to do that type of thing, and make sure that we are looking in the right markets. If we're not looking in the right markets, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. So.
Good, good. Something else you can add is that, again, to show some leadership in that you could engage in that question, would be that I believe that the success of my current assistants will help determine the quality of my future assistants. And I believe in mentoring my team, training my team, and helping them get to the next level. So when that position vacates and I go to post this position, I can say, this position is not open because of that, Joe got out of the golf business. This position is open because Joe's now the head golf professional over here. Again, it can show leadership in there, but you're exactly right. I mean, with the alignment of the club and what the club's looking for in the team, that's good stuff too. Good stuff. All right, who's got the ball?
Do you make the assumption then that the staff is still in place? Or could you ask the question, or would you ask the question? Because I interviewed for a place one time, and they wanted me to fire the superintendent my first day on the job.
Yeah, you want to find that out quick. That's in the whole keys to success. If there are blind spots that you need to address, you need to be prepared to talk to the search committee about how you're going to address them. Yeah. All right, so who will have the ball? How are we doing?
Another one more question, man?
All right, all right. How do you set expectations for your staff and evaluate their performance?
I would set expectations for my staff and evaluate their performance by setting standard operating procedures. They're also called SOPs or work processes. That is a blanket sheet that we have our processes and expectations, standards written down for staff members, so that we can hold them accountable. And when we do evaluate their performance, we have a standard to go off of, whether they're doing above standard or below standard performance. We can evaluate that as well as we can.
Good, very good. A lot of good content in that. The only thing I might suggest adding would be, first thing I would do would be sit down with the board and understand what your expectations are. so that you know what you can set. That was a really good answer.
And I would have, I would either do monthly or quarterly, counseling with each one of my staff. And look at the career progression, where they're at, where they need to be, what have they done since our last counseling, where we sat down and said, okay, hey, you are going to be working for your phase 2, how far along are we? What are some of your pitfalls, what has happened on phase 3, or whatever it happens to be? And I would walk through that process so that we can get them in a position to be a professional.
Good. Something else that's critical with this, that will resonate with search committees and boards, is when you tell them, listen, I'm gonna go through the department and I'm gonna meet with every person independently, and we're gonna talk about and agree on what the expectation is for your role. And we're gonna dialogue, and we're gonna agree on that. So that when expectations aren't met, you can sit them back down and say, listen, we agreed on this, and we're not quite there. But having clear understandings about what success looks like is vital. It's vital for every position, including yours as the head job professional. But it's hard to hold someone accountable for success if they don't clearly understand what success looks like. So make sure you have that, and you can say, I'll sit down with them, we're gonna go over standard operating procedures, boom, they're gonna be looking for that. Because I'll bet you the 65-year-old dude has all of them right here.
One last thing that you always need to do, especially when you're going through this, is you have to know what their expectations are of you specifically as their boss. That's the other thing that I would want to know from my staff is what are their expectations of me and where do I fit into their plan?
Absolutely, yeah, because that's part of that success dialogue. We're gonna talk about what success looks like for you, and I'm gonna explain what success looks like to me, so we can help each other. Again, it'll show leadership. We have time for one more?
Yeah, go on.
All right.
I'll hold them the ball.
All right. Who has the ball? You get to toss it.
I can't answer that.
I love it. Yes, you can too.
I can see you want to talk.
It's a kind of army guy.
This will be up there right after alley. How do you develop and maintain a culture of continuous improvement with golf operations team at Hosel Rocket Country Club?
Wow. Develop and maintain a culture of continuous improvement. That's a trick question.
It's a good one though. It comes up every
That is
time.
a trick question.
Comes up every time.
How can you continually improve perfection?
What's perfection?
That's what I'm saying, it's a trick question. I would dance around this question, and I wouldn't answer this question directly. That's how I go around it. See, I'm not interviewing for head professional positions, so
I'm glad you're glad.
I'm non-green grass,
A culture of continuous improvement is one of the top qualities that we see with every position that we do executive searches with, whether it's a head professional, golf course superintendent, general manager. It's one of the biggest keys. And that is a mindset that nothing is ever perfect. Because things change, expectations change. Nothing is ever perfect. That you're going to engage your entire team in evaluating what you're doing and encourage all your team members to bring ideas forward that could be improvements. That you recognize that you're not smart enough to know everything about every part of your department. No one is. But you will engage everyone in your team to bring ideas for improvement forward, and you'll evaluate them, and you'll reward the good ones. It comes up a lot. How do you instill a continuous improvement culture in yourself and in your team?
I would implement in my monthly and quarterly meetings, idea sharing, implement, standards that we're trying to meet and then look for areas of growth, basically use it like a SWOT,
Yeah.
Where are we doing well, where are we not doing well, what can we improve on, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'll bet you do it with your golf tournaments. When you're done, I bet you celebrate success, and then you look about what can we do better.
Yep, always, self-evaluation.
Exactly. exactly. That's what they're looking for. I'm gonna look at everything that we do, every event that we do, every practice that we do, how can we make it better? We're gonna listen to everyone, we're gonna engage everyone that we can. We're gonna tell the board about this. Number one reason that golf professionals lose their job is because board thinks they're stagnant. If you have a continuous improvement culture, you're not stagnant. You're always looking for something better. Remember, expectations change. Economic situations change. I mean, club boards change. I mean, you're shooting after a moving target a lot. So, I mean, what's good this year might not be good next year. But you need to evaluate everything that you do with a critical eye and look for improvement. And then celebrate that improvement with your owner or with your board. So,
It's the greatest thing to go back on an action plan a year later and review what you set out and go, yep, we did that, did that, oh, we messed that one a little bit, did that, you know. It's just a good gratifying thing when you have an action plan and you can go back and review it and go, okay, we probably achieved 80% of that, pretty good.
So it also, if you guys don't follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. I've got some pretty good articles that I think would be helpful in there. But one of them is called Never Settle, which is the power of continuous improvement. The other is documenting your accomplishments, which documenting your continuous improvement accomplishments is critical. A good answer to that would be, well, let me tell you about what we've done at our prior facility. And you could do this as an assistant. You know, we keep track of our, you know, after every major event, we huddle back up and we celebrate what went well and what could go better. And let me tell you about how some events have evolved over time and tell them a story about an actual thing at your club that you were part of making that improvement. Continuous improvement will align with every single job that you interview for. I mean, no one wants somebody that thinks that, you know, no offense, Paul, with perfection.
That's why I
No.
put it in there.
Yeah, no one wants somebody that says, you know what, that event, we knocked it out of the park and that's as good as it's ever gonna get. You're gonna be calling me looking for a job. Because promising. That's a really, really important one. I've got like 2 more pages, but now I'm out of time. All right.
Give it a wrap. and then
Yeah.
We'll go invade
Well,
their.
hey, but
that's
before
their side.
that,
Yeah,
hang on.
what-
One sec. Daggone. Well, never mind, it's on this slide. Well, on the TNNPGA site on career services, there's a website there, career services resources. Go to that. There's a ton of material on there. There's also quick links to jobs in our section, in the Kentucky section, and in the whole Southeast. So, and I'm here for you for anything. I mean, the invitation for mock interviews, I mean that sincerely. I mean, I enjoy doing them, and they really, really help. If you think you wouldn't benefit from a mock interview, I'm telling you, you're wrong. Just being able to dialogue and talk is not enough. When you're sitting in front of a board, it's different. And knowing some of the questions that are gonna come your way and being comfortable giving those answers will make the difference between getting a job and not getting it. So, call me anytime for anything. Yes?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Can you share what you feel like would be the appropriate time to make a phone call to the club or the person doing the hiring? If you've submitted your resume cover letter, you hadn't heard anything back, is there a time when you can make a call? I know a lot of old job
Day after
postings used
deadline.
to say, on the bottom, used to say, employer does not wish to receive phone calls.
Yeah, if they say that, I wouldn't call them, because you piss them off. But most of the time, there's a search firm doing that. Whoever is doing the search, call them. Actually, I would call them long before that.
Okay.
Call it as soon as the job is released, because that search firm, whether it's me or whether it's KKW or whomever, they should know the keys to success. And they should know the answer to virtually every question you'll have. And that'll help you with your cover letter, with your resume. But as soon as that job comes out,
But like if you've sent your cover letter and resume already, is it appropriate to call them or not to?
if you've already talked like with the consultant, after the deadline, I'd probably give it a week. Because what happens is we've got this big pile of resumes electronically, and the employer and the consultant are sorting through them. And that sometimes can take a while.
Sure.
You know, when you get some of these higher profile jobs, it's not uncommon to get more than 100 candidates. So, and it can take a while. Because some of them are pretty good. We also get some that are pretty funny. Like, we did the search for Leslie Ludlow, who you'll meet tomorrow if you're at the, we had one of the candidates applied for the general manager job at West Haven. This person had never worked a day in the golf industry and was currently working a concession stand at a minor league ball field in South Florida. And wrote a resume, cover letter, and everything. We do see some funny stuff.
I'm ready to switch it.
Ready? I told them to wrap it up.